All right, welcome back to OTB AM on this Friday morning, sometime on a Friday morning, and myself and Owen have been joined in the studio by two off-the-ball luminaries, Tommy and Ger. Good morning to you.
Morning.
He's just made his way in from the box, but Ger's come all the way in this morning to lend his weight behind or do a bit of crystal ball gazing here.
I'm
Have we got? I was kind of trying to consider where we've got one crystal ball between us, or we've all each got our individual crystal balls.
What is our crystal ball? Is it the Saipan replica that Cabana's got signed by everybody?
We have to word with the producer and see what we
need something.
sort of come up with.
This Friday show is crap, by the way. It's nowhere near as full of energy, and the guest list today is awful. If we're the guest list on Friday,
thing is,
what's going on?
We hit the jackpot last week, Ger, when myself and Paul Howard in the studio.
It was really good, actually. That was fun.
I was back this week, and we imagined that you were sitting at home sort of crying, looking at the show, going, oh my God.
No, he wasn't.
No, I think it was at that exact moment I was being interviewed. I think it would have been around 9 a.m. Irish time when the interview was happening, so it would have been perfect, actually.
We really missed an opportunity to get you on the line and tap into some of that pissedness, didn't we?
The last crystal ball was a big success.
We did such an amazing crystal ball in, when was that?
January.
And have we ever actually even returned to that at any point? The only thing I remember from that crystal ball thing was that you picked Wales to win the Six Nations.
Yeah, you picked Tiger Woods to win the Masters.
Oh.
Why have we not gone back to this?
Because we were going to surprise you on Friday until Jerry just fucked it up.
It is Friday. I don't know what you're talking about.
What a disaster.
That's fantastic.
We're pre-recorded, by the way.
That's good.
So just feign surprise when we bring this up.
Yeah, absolutely.
On earlier in the show.
What? I did what? Right. We are on the brink of the 2019 Gaelic Football Championships. We're all going to stare into. We've decided our individual crystal balls and give you some predictions for the year ahead. So we've got 15 different categories. Going to spend about a minute in each of these and then come to some sort of a conclusion at the end of it and move on to the next one. So we're going to kick off with who everybody thinks is going to be the best goalkeeper of 2019.
It's going to be Rory Beggan. I don't necessarily think he is the best goalkeeper in the country. I still maintain, even at his age, that Stephen Cluxton is the best goalkeeper in the country. But ultimately, you judge these things on a very unfair basis. Stephen Cluxton will get to show his talents against nobody in Leinster, hopefully until the Leinster final, which we'll get to in a moment.
Owen made these questions up. Best goalkeeper, does that mean he gets the All-Star at the end of the year, or he is the best goalkeeper in the country? Because you just said you think Stephen Cluxton is the best goalkeeper, and then you said somebody else
you just
is the answer to this.
I think this year, I think at the end of the year, we will look back on the goalkeeper who had the best 2019 as Rory Beggan.
But that's not answering the question. The question was who is the best goalkeeper.
I mean, I do appreciate the idea that when we're explaining we're losing here, right? We clearly haven't had any great...
All-Star goalkeeper or best goalkeeper?
All-Star goalkeeper.
And that's changed.
That's just changed everything.
But otherwise, how do you determine who's right and who's wrong? Because otherwise, we just sit here in the studio again. I mean, look, let's face it. We'll probably do a Tiger Woods and forget that we ever had this conversation. But on the off chance that we do look back on it, we will need somebody else to tell us if we're right or wrong.
Well, I'm going to double down. Rory Beggan is the best goalkeeper in the country, 100% unequivocally, and he will win the Ulster. Like, Beggan has a longer kick out than Morgan, so he can bomb it beyond. He
can arrow it. Tommy, we all know that.
He can arrow it like
he can
Morgan
use it as well.
He's got a better temperament than Morgan. He's better under high ball than Cluxton. Yes, he had that mistake in the All-Ireland semi-final against Tyrone last year, but we won't hold it against him.
I mean, come on.
He's the first man to score, to properly start scoring from playing Gaelic football as a goalkeeper recently. We saw the Tyrone sub-keeper do it recently. We rifled the ball into the back of the net. Rory Beggan might do that this year. I've heard of teams in Monaghan who obsess about facing Beggan. Like, Scotsman are a really good club team and they obsess about what they're going to do to stop Beggan, and they're like, okay, we'll push up, but what's the point in pushing up? He's going to kick it 60 yards. So I do think Rory Beggan is the best.
There was a kick out that nearly went wide last year in the game against Kerry, which was like, what?
I think he's the best keeper.
Straight to Conor McManus and straight over the bar.
Cluxton set the standard, and I think Beggan has raised it a little bit more.
I mean, if we are talking in the All-Star context, obviously, as we have our All-Star jury member occasionally remind us that, how much does that even factor into what the selection will be? You've come up with a lot of, I think, worthy categories as to why a goalkeeper might fit that bill. It's to assume that any of those categories are actually at play when the meeting takes place.
He just changed the whole thing here.
Yes.
It's not All-Star.
This is a crystal ball for the 2019 championship. Who do I think the best goalkeeper will be in the 2019 championship? I think it's going to be Rory Beggan.
I think it's going to be Cluxton. I think that you've got to take a position on the whole year, right? My position is that I think, and I'm going to answer this question, will the Dubs be stopped?
But don't reveal any of that, Jeff. Don't reveal any of that. Hang on. I know we're all going to have to walk that tightrope until we get towards the end.
Don't blow on the dance this morning,
Okay. That guy. I think that, for no reason, that at the end of the year, we will go, that is an amazing career that Stephen Cluxton has put together, Tom Brady style. Ruby Walsh style, a Tiger Woods style career, a game changer.
But Tom Brady's not the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
No, but
Like, that's the point. Right now...
Yeah, but come on.
Tiger Woods.
Dublin win 5 in a row.
Tiger
Dublin win
Woods
5 in a row. They
wasn't
can't give.
I'm not saying that being the GOAT is necessarily the same as being the best goalkeeper right now. The thing is, I actually kind of agree with you that I think there's a strong argument to be made that Stephen Cluxton is still currently the best goalkeeper.
There's an argument, definitely. Like, I think what
I'm making that argument. That's all I'm doing.
If you believe that Dublin are going to win 5 in a row, they are not going to do it without Stephen Cluxton.
Don't give away now the...
I think if we are...
If you believe it. So if you believe Dublin are going to do 5 in a row, you've got to pick Cluxton as your
I think we're way over the minute here, but
but
to wrap this up, I think that this is a swan song. Clearly, he'll be 38 for the next year's championship. I think that if we bring it back to the Ulster, I think there's an element of X factor in that conversation that doesn't come into some of those categories that you talked about. That might just be a bit of the romance of football championship, and the bowing out of Stephen Cluxton with an All-Star to cap it off is where I'm going.
Talk to Dave McIntyre. There's no romance in the All-Star selections.
Here's where everybody went for their best goalkeeper. Just to recap that category before we move on. So I'm going with Cluxton, as is Ger, and the two lads going for Rory Began. And who knows who's proved right or wrong at the end of the year, because we can all just sit here and rehave the argument if it's not connected to the All-Stars. Let's just decide it's connected to the All-Stars now.
Okay, let's go
square that
That's
off.
it. That's the only one. That's the only individual thing.
I love football.
Tommy, category 2, Leinster, easier or harder for
Better
Dublin?
than me.
Yeah, easier or harder for Dublin this year?
I kind of bailed and said it's going to be the same as always. Same
Come on, give us some real stuff here.
It doesn't say
Honestly.
easier or harder or same. It says easier or harder.
Like, it's almost impossible for it to be the same.
It is like, it's like, who came the closest to Dublin in the last couple of years? Carlo kept them close enough for about 50 minutes.
Westmeath,
Can I just
probably.
point out that
Down
Tommy
Leash.
is refusing to say that it's going to be harder because he's worried that it'll get back to McEntee and that will end his final lingering, tiny, threadbare chances of ever representing me.
Well, then he should be saying it's easier.
The one
If
person
that's-
I'm not worried about here is Andy McEntee. Andy
I don't
McEntee
believe
not worried about
you.
me.
The lady does protect too much.
No, Meath obviously had a fantastic league, brilliant, but like any Meath fan looking at that now can't go, oh, we're going to win a Leinster, we're going to challenge Dublin. Like, Meath haven't been there in 5
they're
years.
closer to them, though.
They're closer, but it's not going to make it any more
That
difficult.
makes it harder.
Isn't the
Closer is harder.
evidence, isn't
But
the
Meath won't
evidence
even
of,
make-
isn't the evidence of everything about Dublin that everything is going to be harder for them this year?
Yes, exactly. And also, by definition, okay, not as close to by definition, but you look at the teams, of course it's going to be harder this year. The smallest winning margin in Leinster last year was 18 points for Dublin. Like, come on, it's not that hard a question. And this is, these were supposed to be easy questions to ease ourselves
Yes,
in.
yes.
It is categorically a harder. They didn't play Kildare, they didn't play Meath last year. They will play Meath in the Leinster final this year, I think. And surely, Tommy, Andy McEntee will get them to 17 points.
Finally, right. Leinster's going to be really interesting apart from Dublin. It actually is going to be interesting. But like, I don't even know if Meath, I wouldn't even predict Meath to get to a Leinster final yet.
Why? What side of the draw then?
Oh, isn't it?
You have
Bottom side.
the winners of Louth Wexford. Dublin faced the winners of Louth Wexford in the quarter final.
Louth.
Meath are on the opposite
The
side,
least
so they're going to be
Carlo.
the final. Meath are on the opposite side.
Well, Meath don't have are opposite the side with that
It'll
has
be
to there in Dublin.
Meath and Westmeath in the semi-finals.
Error.
The cheeky yerring here from Tommy Rooney is
I
absolutely
know. It's
sickening.
in like about showing up in a Leinster final.
What are you going for?
Yeah, much easier.
Easier.
Much harder. Sorry, much harder.
Harder. Yeah.
Much
Yeah.
harder. There'll be at least one.
Meath coming on a bit.
So hang on, they'll beat Louth by 18 points. Who else? Well, here's
play-
the thing. They
they
won't
play
beat
Louth or
these by
Wexford.
18 points because they'll just be sitting back.
Louth or Wexford in the quarters, and then probably Kildare in the semis.
Depends where the quarters are. They're in
So they play
Croker, 18
Louth,
points.
Kildare,
Meath.
and Meath.
Or Westmeath.
Well, Louth, Kildare, and Meath.
Possibly.
Maybe Westmeath.
But look, Meath obviously come on in the league. Kildare have a Super 8s behind them. I mean,
If Daniel Flynn plays, I would give them.
Westmeath won the Burn Cup this year, no?
Westmeath are going for the only team in the hunt for the quadruple.
They are.
So, you know.
Do you remember Adrian's quadruple of a Mount Rushmore from Westmeath?
So I'm going.
I think of Westmeath
I'm going for
outside.
Audio Shane, John Aldridge.
Why not? I'm going for harder as well on
Joe Dolan.
Owen's basis of. No, he didn't make it. I think Niall Horan might have been in there.
Oh, Niall Horan's fair enough.
Robbie Henshaw, yeah.
Robbie Henshaw was in. It was a Mount Rushmore of about 6 or 7 people, to be fair. So, whatever you're having yourself, I'm going for harder as well. Really, on Owen's basis that it couldn't be
Same as always.
Same as always. Same as always.
Bullshit answer.
And
Tommy.
he got to write that up. It should have been disqualified.
Right, we're into the serious stuff now. Ger, Footballer of the Year. What are you having?
Footballer of the year.
Without giving away your selection for questions.
So I've gone for 2. My outsider is Cormac Costello, and my favourite is Fenton.
Costello gets in the team, gets a run of games.
Costello's like the focal point of an attack that needs a bit of a focal point. that needs that bit of aggression and bite that he brings to the game that they're missing at the moment.
Is he even going to start?
I mean, that's why he's an outside bet.
You're not going to go for James McCarthy? Put your money down on James McCarthy again?
I thought about James McCarthy.
Yeah, so did I.
Tommy, who have you gone for?
Gone for Aidan O'Shea.
So have I.
So have I.
Ah, right.
I think that's a bad sign for Aidan O'Shea.
I mean, I think this is very suggestive of what we're coming to a bit later in this.
No. I don't think they necessarily need to win the All-Ireland.
They do. They do this year.
Like, 2 Mayo men have won All-Star Player of the Years this decade.
And
Aidan O'Shea is more famous than them in a vote that is rewarded by the players. And I think he's liked by his players.
He's liked by players, but Aidan O'Shea is probably judged a bit harsher than others. But I just think that in that league campaign, he just showed such good form. I think
he was great.
It was James McCarthy-esque last year, and it's like, if you're going to pick somebody on that basis, I'd be going for Aidan
Momentum
O'Shea.
behind them, holding his position in midfield.
Yeah.
A manager that he loves.
Yeah, James Horan is the Aidan whisperer.
You're not mentioning any Kerry players in this conversation.
For Footballer of the Year?
Yeah.
Won't happen.
Yeah, they're all too young.
They're way too young. We'll get the young Footballer of the Year in a moment.
Right, so we have 3 Aidan O'Sheas and 1 hedging his bets.
Yeah, so Costello/Fenton.
You went for Costello, by the way, according to our graphic.
Mayo are going to play Dublin in the Super 8.
That's it. That's the only one you get.
Mayo could play Dublin in the Super 8. So, like, you know, O'Shea's going to have, after the New York game, he's going to have Roscommon, potentially Galway, potentially Roscommon, potentially Galway, and then more than likely Dublin in the Super 8 if it goes that way.
And then potentially say he's in the shop window for a lot longer.
You're in the shop window for longer. There's bigger games.
Until the Super 8.
The Galway game will be on TV.
No mention for any of the shortlisted players for last year, or
here's the thing,
Rory O'Carroll.
Here's the thing. Well, I talked briefly about Rory O'Carroll. Here's the thing, but none of the players will see games. They will only see clips on
GA now.
Exactly, and it's the stupidest poll that we've ever had.
Or, you know, Player of the Month awards, Man of the Match awards. Like, Aidan O'Shea is cleaning Man of the Match awards up at the moment. That really helps, you're right. And he's interviewed on the Sunday game after the 4-minute highlights package every week.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to have a huge impact. Aidan O'Shea is just the biggest magnet for momentum. If he's playing badly, people are saying he's terrible. If he's playing half well, people will say he's amazing. I think he's in runner form now where he's playing well. He's going to actually be playing amazing this year, and people are going to be losing their minds about it. And I think he's a perfect candidate for Footballer of the Year.
Reset your timer there, Tommy. We're going to move on to the Young Player of the Year. I'm going to jump in here with Sean O'Shea, Owen, just to make you feel a bit more at home with things. I think obviously he's had a brilliant league. He was vastly underestimated by some quarters in Kerry obviously last year. Probably learns a little bit from the league final, and I think that he's a good shout for Young Player of the Year.
I agree. I think Clifford is favoured. I think he's about even price favourite at the moment. But Sean O'Shea, I agree. I think he's actually going to do it. And I think the reason why is what he does outside of the freeze. Obviously, you can't overstate just how much composure it takes to actually knock over those frees, especially when it comes to big games. But I think Ger's a big advocate for Sean O'Shea at midfield. Now, personally, I don't see it myself, but there is a bit of clamour around that, getting Sean O'Shea more involved in the middle of the park. He's on more ball. He's in the game a little bit more. David Clifford's going to be watching a little bit more this year. I think it's definitely a 2-horse race. I think Sean O'Shea just about edges it.
Come for Sean O'Shea too, lads.
All right.
The consensus is there. I just think, like, free taking wise, he's not going to miss anything inside the 45. He might have missed 2 or 3 in the league, but he's such a slick footballer. He makes them tick. He's involved in their defensive play as well. Owen has said it as well as anyone. Like, he's involved in so much. Clifford will have massive moments.
Clifford, come on.
But I think Sean O'Shea is going to be consistently the best player.
Like the story of the summer. Sean O'Shea is a great footballer, and it's great that they have him. But like, this is Xavi to Messi. Xavi, great footballer, top 5, absolutely. But Messi's Messi. Clifford is Messi.
Yeah.
Clifford is the one that every child in the country is going to be in the back garden dribbling the ball around people, dummy soloing, kicking with both feet and going, yeah, Clifford's gone.
But he's got the thing with the reason that I went against him was that he's got a bit of the Zlatan as well. He's got the capacity to lose the head a bit, or he's got the capacity to be a bit distracted in a way that I don't know very much about Sean O'Shea, but he doesn't strike me.
You're not watching enough shot clock.
You know what? That's what makes you stand out sometimes too.
Yeah.
A little bit of Zlatan.
But also, we know that he's getting that under control because Kieran Donaghy had a little quiet word by text.
Yeah,
Good
record happens for back-to-back young footballers as well. Both the O'Connors won them in back-to-back years, so Clifford could do the third one this decade.
We're seeing a Kerry man anyway.
Derek Hanavan is another guy that...
But
he's not playing senior football.
He's not playing
he's in his 20s, yeah.
Right, we'll go for him for 2020. Recap on the Young Footballer of the Year. Shouts, pretty much all Sean O'Shea, and then a bit of a David Clifford from Ger there as well. He seems to be going against the general run of things here, surprisingly. Will Dermot Connolly play this year?
No. It would have happened by now.
No. Yes, no.
Yes, for Vincent. No, I'm joking. Yes, I think you will.
I have
Come back. I'm a dreamer. He's coming back.
I have a no, unfortunately.
No, as well, is what I'm going.
Too late, isn't it?
Bring him back.
Too late.
I'll bring him back.
We need him back.
It's
Come on.
absolutely like Rory O'Carroll just got back last week. What are you talking about?
Bit of a,
It's absolutely not too late.
I think it's a bit of a different situation. I think, well, to be honest with you, I think the Rory O'Carroll comeback is actually quite late as well. I think he needed a bit of league football. He came back later than Diarmuid Connolly came back.
No,
like as in literally to the country.
Dublin think of the Leinster Championship as league football the way you think of league football in Kerry. They're like, oh yeah,
Exactly.
I mean,
Like,
come on.
if you're saying Rory O'Carroll came back late,
loud in Cork Park.
Different case when you're bringing a player back in.
if you're saying Rory Carroll came back late, the whole Dubs came back late.
It is a different story.
Touche.
They will
They all
want to
did.
get, they
They
will
all
want to
did, to
get
be
that
fair.
story out of the way.
Bring back Diarmuid Connolly,
They don't want this dragging on until later in the year. That's, I mean, it needs to happen.
There's media today. There's media today where we're
So
going
this
to
could
get
be
an answer.
all
Or-
day, 24 hours.
We're talking about Diarmuid Connolly instead of talking about the elephant in the room, which is
Exactly.
the pressure needs to get to Dublin.
Exactly.
Whereas Jim Gavin is like, just keep talking about Diarmuid Connolly there.
Jim Gavin can bring Diarmuid Connolly back and he can put number 24 on his back, and Jim Connolly will fight for his place, and if he doesn't win it back, he doesn't win it back. I actually don't think he's like a negative impact. He would be a negative impact in the squad, even as a squad player. I actually think he'd be a distraction for the rest of the world.
Let's have a recap on where we're all going. And Diarmuid Connolly, no across the board. And Tommy continues with his bullshit answers here.
No, I'm saying yes. Actually, yes.
Actually, yes.
I'm actually saying yes. I was only joking there.
Right, best defence. Jared, do you want to jump in on this one?
My best defence is Dublin. I mean, I think this is pretty straightforward.
I think,
100%.
yeah.
Like,
Rory O'Carroll comes back in, shores everything up. They suddenly have options.
strength and depth.
Their one weakness is shored up.
It's a domino effect of this. Like if Rory O'Carroll comes back to full form, fully fit, they've got 3 lockdown. If Keane O'Sullivan's fully fit, they've got 6 lockdown. That means Johnny Cooper goes back to being a cornerback again, and that is a huge, huge thing for
And
Dublin.
also means James McCarthy can go to midfield.
So
Yeah,
who
that's
misses
true
out
as
there?
well.
Was Philly, Cooper, Merchant started the 2018
Philly,
final stuff?
so we were talking, Paddy Christie was
Yeah.
on the show during the week, we were talking about the strength of Rory O'Carroll and what he brings, because obviously he's his natural successor, and he was saying, well look, Philly won't be in every minute of every game player for you, but situationally, when Aidan O'Shea is moved into full forward, come on down Philly, do your stuff.
That semi-final in 2016, 2015, Philly scored 1-2 on them, pushing them back the pitch.
It's not bad.
Are we missing anything here? Are we going to look back at the end of this year and go, Jesus, why were we not talking about it?
Mayo potentially.
In the league, Mayo potentially.
Tyrone.
In the league, right, on the Gaelic football show, one week we were talking about how brilliant Kerry swarm tackling were, and the following week we were discussing Aidan O'Rourke's column, which Kerry people were not happy about.
Well, nobody was saying that Kerry were the best defence in the country.
We were talking about but we were talking about how good they were. I was as well. How
We're
good
talking
their
about
swarm tackling was. How improved they had been like over the league campaign. I don't know. For me, it's Dublin. I think they've shored up their one weakness.
Yeah, I think we're probably all going on that. We'll just take a quick sweep on that. There we are. Let's see who says at the end of the chat whether Dublin are going to get it done this year or not. That's the 29 crystal ball for the best defence of the year. Most likely underachievers. I'm going to jump in with Monaghan on this one. They on the basis that maybe they overachieved last year, but obviously doing as well as they did, obviously in terms of the Super 8s, lost in All-Ireland semi-final by a point. It's hard to see them repeat that, and at that basis I'm saying...
So what so again, I'm asking the quizmaster for some definitions here. How do you define underachieving?
It's very loose, Jers, I think. What I've defined it as the teams who we should be expecting to do something that they won't.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's it. It's not based on last year, because I don't think reaching the Super 8s and getting knocked out in the Super 8s is an underachievement for Monaghan, to be honest with you. But I agree with you. I think there is a danger, and we're all going to look a little bit foolish here. The chances are when you try to pick an underachiever, because it's a tough one to pick. But I think there is a slight possibility that Monaghan might stumble before they get to the Super 8s. They've got to go to Breffni Park in the first round, their first match of Ulster.
Playing well.
They almost got relegated in the league. Granted, I think Niall Kearns coming back playing football is a massive thing for Monaghan, and he's going to be huge for them. Like, to be honest with you, when I'm actually previewing the match between Cavan and Monaghan, I would expect them to win, but I think it's a banana skin. Then Armagh after that. They go into the qualifiers early when you get knocked out that early in Ulster if it happens, and you just don't know what's going to happen in there. I just think,
Have
as I
shite
say,
league and may not make the Super 8s is what you're saying, is it?
I think there's a chance they don't make it.
Well, that's definitely underachieving.
Oh, it would be a huge underachievement, yeah.
Before I reveal my underachiever, I would like to say that I would like to change my overachiever.
I hear.
Well, I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to change it. I'm
You
going to...
can't keep giving caveats.
Can
Get
I
off that
stick? Can I
fence.
change my overachiever?
We'll come to that in a minute.
Okay, well, my underachiever is Monaghan. I think that when you beat Dublin in the league, you're just nearly setting yourself up to fail.
No.
I think you are. But I'm going to say that Can I change my overachiever? No?
We'll come to that in a minute. What have we got?
Tyrone.
Right?
Tyrone.
Well, this is surprising.
Well, because they've got last year they reached an All-Ireland final. This year they've revolutionised their style of play. Well, let's be having you, lads. Come on. All this fancy talk in March, February, April. and we've progressed from not laying a glove on Dublin in an All-Ireland semi-final to not laying a glove on them in the final. No.
Mickey Hart says that they have changed their style of play, but that, I mean, we still
to negotiate an Ulster
Championship. Surprised if you see Tyrone 2018 in the Championship is kind of what Mickey Hart is saying.
It's such a pity that Tyrone didn't change their style last year and have something ready in the can. I do honestly still think that Monaghan, though, I do agree with you that their Ulster is so tricky, and last year they came so close to making it into the All-Ireland final that it's easy to say Monaghan as an underachiever.
Well, it is, and we're going to look stupid here. Like we probably are, but Monaghan just seems like
there's no way we're going to look stupid. This is absolutely outrageous.
Like last year they had a Jack McCarron to Conor McManus. Now they've added Stephen O'Hanlon as well.
Yeah,
that's why I'm picking Monaghan as my overachiever.
Monaghan, and swimming against the tide is Ger with his Tyrone prediction. So, Tommy, come on. Whatever's on the graphic, we said this to Paul Howard last week, whatever's on the graphic, you got to stick with it.
So I got to stick with it?
Yeah.
Okay,
you can give a caveat, but you have to stick with that.
Most likely overachievers this year, I think, because they've got a lot of young lads and that nobody in the county believes that they can actually win the All-Ireland this year. I think that Kerry are going to win it, and they're going to be the most overachievers.
Ooh, the teams that we're not expecting...
If they won an All-Ireland, there would be an overachiever.
The teams we're not expecting anything from who actually have a chance of...
No.
Overachievement. I think Kerry winning an All-Ireland this year would be an overachievement. I think that they can do it.
Yeah, he's right. It would be an overachievement.
Yeah.
I was going to change it,
but you're saying it would clearly would be an overachievement. But you're saying that that's what is going to happen.
No, I think that
the most likely
overachievement would be Kerry.
Meath for me.
Right.
To be fair, is making the Super 8s an overachievement for me? Maybe not. If he were to go to...
No, probably is. It is.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, then hear me out.
Got promoted. The team that gets promoted from Division 2 should automatically consider themselves one of the top 8 teams in the country. Therefore, they must be considered...
I was worried this might happen. So I've come up with a backup. Cork.
What?
Cork as an overachiever. Basically,
what would they even need to do to overachieve?
There is that, but also their Munster semi-final.
Keep it kicked out.
Their Munster semi-final is against Tipperary. Like Tipperary had just as bad a league as Cork did. Like Tipperary have gone back in the last couple of years. Let's face that.
But at least Cork can point to not having had their best players playing for them.
Well, I mean, like you look at Cork last year, they reached the Munster final. I think, will reach the Munster final again this year. That way, once they get hockeyed by Kerry in a Munster final, they're only one game away from the Super 8s. If Cork make the Super 8s, for me, that is an overachievement.
I could go with that.
And I can see that happening.
There's no easy games against Cork.
Sorry,
no easy game. Sorry,
if Meath make the Super 8s, it's the absolute progression they need. But I do think it's an achievement to make Super 8s.
So Roscommon made the Super 8s last year and were no good when they got there, right?
Yeah.
If Cork were to get there and get hammered in 3 games, that's not an overachievement. That's like laying there.
Well, there's too many factors because you could end up with. If you're Cork or Meath and you get beaten by every other team who are...
Come on, you progress. I think you progress.
Who are you going for?
Most likely overachievers I have is Donegal.
Why?
This is not the first time
we've mentioned an All-Ireland semi-final.
Paddy McWherty.
But why are they going to overachieve?
But what is the...
Just remember they're missing McNeilish.
Define overachieve.
But like overachieving for Donegal is a semi-final.
Yes, it's coming out of the group.
Fair enough.
It's like not being destroyed by the vagaries of a crap rule where they have to play Dublin and Croker.
I'm backing up the Meath shout and I'm sticking by it. Obviously a brilliant league, copped an awful draw in the back door last year, ran Tyrone to a point in extra time, had some big wins in the league including some of the teams we've just mentioned, and I think that they have a show to get in the Super 8s. I will consider that to be an overachievement. Obviously it backs up my selection, so I'm entitled to do that. And here's a recap of what we're all thinking about the overachievers. I get to do it, it's fine. Meath and Kerry for Tommy, and a caveat at Donegal from Ger, who's come back to Donegal a few times in this one.
That's the first time I mentioned them.
No, you mentioned them a bit earlier. You said sleepers, you were talking about them a bit earlier. Right, best midfield. Owen, what are you thinking?
Best midfield.
The team that we think will have the best midfield.
Yeah, Dublin. For me, the top 2 midfields in the country are Fenton and McCarthy, and Fenton and Michael Darragh Macaulay, and the third best midfield in the country is potentially Matthew Moran and Aidan O'Shea. It could be a bit of a curveball there, but for me, the top 2 midfields in the country are any combination of those for Dublin.
Thanks for ruining my top 2 midfielders in the country. My top 2 midfielders in the country are the combination of O'Shea and Ruan. I think there's the Brafey link. I think Ruan was defined the league. I think he had so much to him. He's so hard working. He really complements O'Shea's game. I think he can add a point. Mayo were probably lacking that with their midfielders in the last couple of years. They were probably lacking somebody who could add maybe 2 points a game the way Kieran Whelan used to do it. I think Ruan can do that. He can pop up with goals, ghosts up the field the way that Paddy Keenan used to do it. For me, they are the best two midfielders. I think that Kerry's middle third is the best middle third, but best two midfielders are Ruan and O'Shea.
And they have been named to face New York at the weekend as well. So no Cillian O'Connor in that game, which is of relevance for one of the other competitions that we're going to talk about in a minute.
Too late, Jar.
Dubs.
It's too late. He's in the Dubs, best midfielder.
Yeah.
I'm going with...
Because Howard's there as well, right? Like, you didn't even think of that.
Yeah, Fenton and Howard is the other one.
Yeah.
That's the 2018 All-Star midfield.
Well, Howard's
you just totally discounted.
Howard's 12.
That's a very good point.
But he
That's a very good point.
You know, he's catching kickouts.
That's what you were going to say was your third selection.
I'm basing it on 8 and 9.
What about Kerry's midfield? Like, they've got huge men.
Like
mobile men.
They got cleaned out twice by Mayo in the leagues.
Yeah.
But to be fair, they were missing more.
They're missing the main man
Is
in
he
there.
going to play?
He will.
Best midfield category, the nominees, 2 Mayos, 2 Dublins. Right, best team in Ulster, Ger, I'm coming to you on this one. It's clearly Tyrone.
Best team in Ulster. Again, so what is the question?
What is the best? Not necessarily Ulster champions.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
good. Okay, so the best team in Ulster.
It's at the end of the championship,
So I'm saying Tyrone are going to win the Ulster title, but that Donegal will be the team who goes deepest and has cuts the most damage against the.
So you're not buying the Tyrone hype. You're not buying the.
No, I've just borne witness since 2011 to the style of play that they've had for the last 6-7 seasons, and it's been the same, and it's not used the available resources to them. Now there's a small sample size of them doing really good stuff, and if they continue to do that, then this is wrong, clearly, because they'll blossom and they could actually run Dublin quite close. But fool me once, shame on me. Mm-hmm. You.
The McNeilish thing hasn't. You're remembering McNeilish is not allowed.
I ain't going to get no shame this time.
Well, I picked Donegal. I think that McNeilish is a massive blow, but they brought through so many young lads last year, and they just threw them in at the deep end. Declan Bonner put them all out there. They look really good in the league, burned out around the championship time. I think they've grown up a lot. McBrearty is coming back. I can't remember how bad Oisin Gallen's injury is. He's not out for a summer, is he?
No,
I don't think so.
Not sure.
But he was bloody brilliant in the last couple of games in the league. 4 points against Kildare, 4 or 5 points against Meath from play. He's class. Michael Murphy's in serious form. I think that Donegal are going to win the Ulster Championship. Can I just give a quick shout that I think Armagh are going to be the most interesting team in Ulster this year. I think that Kieran McGeeney is going to get a win in Ulster finally as Armagh.
I'm going to make a prediction that in one of these categories you're just going to give one answer and stick by it without a category.
Keep an eye out for Armagh.
I'm on Donegal. I actually liked Jerry's shout earlier on of Tyrone being biggest underachievers. Like, I was very tempted to just stick Tyrone down as best team in Ulster given their league form, and given Donegal's league form, which was patchy in parts, you'd be tempted to leave them off that as well. But I think the way Donegal finished the league, Michael Murphy's form, it's a very simple thing to actually look at. How are the best players on a team going? And hopefully we'll see a fully fit Paddy McBrearty if they make the Super 8s this year. And I think they've got a chance of being the best team in Ulster for sure.
My shout is Tyrone, but it's difficult to stack it up because the benchmark is so high for them that anything beneath an All-Ireland final almost is seen as a bit of a...
Well, being competitive in an All-Ireland final.
Yeah, but I'm sticking by it anyway. It's on the graphic, so going with Tyrone. It's 3 shouts for...
2-2.
You went for Tyrone as well?
It says Ger Tyrone there on the graphic.
Did you actually go for Tyrone?
That's a mistake. Well, it said Tyrone are going to win the Ulster final.
What's your answer?
My answer is Donegal, I think, because we weren't sure about what the...
Well, I wasn't sure what your answer was when I was filling out the graphic.
Right.
There you go.
Top scorer, Owen, what are you having?
Dean Rock.
Sean O'Shea.
It's Conor McManus.
McManus was top scorer last year.
Who have we got?
I've got Cillian O'Connor, but he's not playing against New York, so he's going to score if you
got to stick by it. It's on the graphic.
If he was playing, it says Cillian O'Connor if he plays New York, but the team broke yesterday, and so he's not playing.
But Cillian O'Connor's still going to get 8 games.
But he would have scored 3-7 in that game, and it was game over for that bet.
Top scorer is a boring conversation.
I'm going with Dean Rock as well. There's none of those Kerry lads that are going to...
I said Sean O'Shea.
Sean O'Shea is a good shout, yeah.
But for you...
But Sean O'Shea on frees. Whoever pick a team, pick their free taker, and that's
Sean
your top
O'Shea
scorer.
is kicking 30. He's kicking 30 points in the Munster Championship.
Okay, so they could score 320 against Clare, couldn't they?
They scored a lot last year. What was it, 31 points or something?
Here's our top scorer recap. That's the best team in Ulster that we're going back to there. And the top scorer we'll come to in a few minutes. We'll move on to the best manager. I'm going with James Horan here. He's already in the hot seat. Obviously had an amazing... Again, look, what the hell are the...
We're biased because we worked with them.
And also, how do we define this?
How do you define it?
Well, I define it as in, if Jim Gavin if Dublin win, there is no debate. It's Jim Gavin that wins it. And if anybody beats Dublin, it's that manager.
Fair enough.
It's as simple as that, as far as I'm concerned.
For me, I look at the best manager in the country through a different prism. I look at it through the Tony Pulis prism. What can you do with a team that should be battling relegation and is actually achieving mid-table relevance? In this case, what team is going to make the Super 8s that might not? Andy McEntee is going to be the best manager this year, in my view.
The difficulty with that is you'll have forgotten about it. But
Tommy actually paid him a $5 to say that. That was really Tommy's vote because he was trying to brown nose so he can get picked.
I think you can actually see the McEntee from your sleeping face.
What have you got?
I just ran
caveats, Tommy. What have you got?
James Horan, I think he's learned what he needed to learn. And I think that they're going to do it. They're going to stop the 5 in a row. I think the league campaign was just so impressive. And, he held trials in October and he looked at who he had to look at. He brought in so many players that have actually made an impact this year. James Horan.
There'll be bonfires lit by Melisandre the whole way from Croke Park to to Kong. That's what'll happen. And
Lewisburg.
The Mead Hill hillbillies will be yahooing for weeks.
It'll be so dark. It'll all be so dark you won't be able to see it. It'll be grand. Nobody actually see it. What are you going for?
I go for James Horan.
Are you?
We're biased. Because he worked with us, so it's not a fair competition.
Our answers better all be that when we get to the end. There better be some consistency here. Best manager votes 3 for James Horan and 1 shout from Owen.
Adrian.
Andy McEntee.
Fantastic.
Why did I go for Peter Keane? That is an amazing question. It's totally inconsistent with what I'm going for later on. That should have been effing James Horan was what I meant to put on that, so apologies there.
Have you not done the back on Peter Keane?
I had not. I was absolutely 100%
it's a shambles.
Not going for Peter Keane.
I demand a Stewart's inquiry.
I was not going for Peter Keane in any way, shape or form.
Have I missed?
But we won't know that.
No, you haven't. I'm sure I put that in the email, but that's what I actually meant to go for. It's in bold here, Owen. You might just sort of...
It is in bold.
Okay, what's the next one?
Best forward line.
Collectively, Kerry.
Yeah, Kerry, for me. Best collection of individuals. Most effective forward line might be a different thing because if you throw the likes of
What are
Miles...
the parameters then?
Well, no, I'm talking about the best collection of forwards.
It's hard to say with conviction, though.
Everything is hard to say with conviction when you're talking about Kerry compared to everybody else because there's a chance that Dublin and Mayo outpoint them in every single area. But Kerry just about edges for me, just given the personnel that they have. Between Clifford and Gainey, between Tommy Walsh and James Donoghue, the type of sleepers that they have. I think it kind of is a bit harsh to be calling them sleepers, to be honest. But Sean O'Shea then, Stephen O'Brien is quietly going about his business.
Hang on.
Gavin McCarthy.
Hang on. Tommy Walsh and Gainey, right? Mm-hmm. When was the last time Gainey was Gainey?
He showed glimpses last year. I'm not going to lie, his form is a worry. His form is a big worry, but I wouldn't be saying this if I thought Paul Gainey was finished, because he's not finished.
Well, he's a young man.
We will see Paul Gainey at his peak again, and I think we will see him at his peak again this summer. Now, James Donoghue has been off his peak for a little bit longer, and that is the bigger if here. And that was the if that I said at the start of the year, that if James Donoghue comes back fully fit, then Kerry can win the All-Ireland, or fully back to full form. Now, I don't think he will do that, but I still think that if he can get somewhere back to 70%, 75% of what he used to be, then that forward line is the best forward line in the country.
I'm not having it. I think there's too many question marks. I think that so what you're saying is that I need 3 players to reach their absolute peak again in
not absolute
Tommy
peak.
Walsh,
I said 75%.
Tommy Walsh, Paul Gainey and James Donoghue all need to get back to something. So
Tommy Walsh has proved that he can be a very, very good something. That something is not 2008, 2009 Tommy Walsh, we got to remember.
I've changed my mind again.
Tommy, I'm going for Dublin. It's the easiest answer, isn't it? I mean, anything else you're making a case for sort of counter to Dublin.
You forget about
the quality players that are there. You're talking about Cormac Costello potentially coming in.
Like no one's mentioned Conor Callaghan once in this 40 minutes we've done.
I mean, I
young footballer of the year.
I haven't been.
But he wasn't Conor Callaghan.
Young footballer of the year. We thought we could work that.
I think he is.
I think he is. Yeah.
Use Jersey analogy. He wasn't Conor Callaghan last year. So who knows what happens there? Maybe it's the third season syndrome, where he's suddenly back to himself again, and he's freed from the shackles of all the pressure of that individual expectation.
He was still pretty effective at various stages. Like there was moments of absolute genius, the tight turning circle, all that kind of stuff that he has. I'm going with the Dubs as well.
Okay.
Right, here's 2 Dubs shout. I'm actually sticking with what's on the graphic this time, and 2 shouts for Kerry. Most likely to stop the Dubs.
Mayo.
One answer, Mayo.
Yeah.
Kerry.
The Dubs themselves.
Jesus Christ.
Get in there, Jay.
Mayo.
And Mayo.
It's like we've spoken about this, I think, in our other answers, to be fair. If they just have something in every area of the park which you need to stop the Dubs, you can't just be a flash in the pan in a certain area.
I think they need Connolly too.
They need Connolly.
I want them to need Connolly.
Get him back.
I'm going to say Kerry, and the reason I changed my answer like 6 times, obviously, but I'm going to say Kerry because Mayo are going to face Dublin in the Super 8s.
Who did you go for manager of the year?
I'm for James Horn.
So how can you say James
Because I
Horn
think Mayo are
and
going
then
to beat
Peter
Dublin in the
Keane?
Super 8s. And I think Kerry are going to win the All-Ireland.
Oh, that's going to be some summer. That will be an eruption.
I am a dreamer.
Yeah, it's complicated.
The montage
I
will be
can't
amazing.
remember what I said at the end for the last
So
one.
hang on. Heartbreak from Mayo that they're going to get up to that level of expectation. They're going to beat the Dubs in the Super 8s, and then Kerry, you're going to steal the All-Ireland from them. Oh my God, what a summer!
Have we talked about back in the knockouts?
Oh, what a summer!
The heartbreak is what makes them.
The last day, I should say.
Classic Kerry. That's
That would be like
penultimate category. Recap on the answers there. It's
30 for 30.
Oh, come on, Ger, give us
how'd you
one.
give bets?
Oh, sorry.
Why did you even allow this?
Dublin themselves.
Jesus Christ. I mean, to be fair, it's funny. Tommy goes for Kerry as the one outlier. And I suppose then the final question is whether they're going to get it done or not. Will the Dubs be stopped?
No. Here's my take on this general...
Yada.
No, just... So we've been talking for the last 2 months, or last 5 months of the stage, since 29 kicked off. Who will be the Seamus Darby? Who will be the man that brings us all down? And I'll tell you what, this generation's Seamus Darby is Ryan McHugh. We've already had our 1982 moment. It was 2014. It was the moment that stopped the 7 in a row. There is no such thing as stopping in a 5 in a row. It's already been done. The 6 in a row I'm looking forward to previewing because I do believe it will be stopped. But forget stopping the 5 in a row. Ryan McHugh was the Seamus Darby of this decade.
Good shout.
Right, briefly, let's wrap this up. I'm saying they will be stopped. I've said James Horn is going to be the manager. I'm all in on Mayo. They're going to have the best midfield. They've got the best manager, and they're going to get it done this year.
I think I had yes then, and I read Adrian said yes as well, so I changed my answer to no. But I want to change it back to yes. I'm only joking.
But
I don't know, I can't make my mind up. I can't make my mind up.
They're odds on across the board. Kerry second favourites, 10 to 1 in Tyrone.
It's going to be so
8 to
difficult
1, I think, on Mayo. What are you having, Ger?
No.
No?
Not having it. Not getting stopped.
No.
That's the final category in our collective individual
I said
crystal
yes.
balls. Will the Dubs be stopped? I say yes. Tommy say yes. Tommy says yes, and the 2 lads say no. I've enjoyed staring into my crystal ball. Thanks for staring into your own crystal balls over the course of the last, what should have been
real.
15 minutes. It's probably been a bit longer than that. Will we come back to this at some point on the track? Is that the general plan?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's any great predictions of sort of winning big things, we should definitely come back to it and commend those people.
We'll do a special in Coppers
made
night of the All-Ireland.
predictions.
Send us in your predictions. What do you think is going to happen?
That's the crystal ball for now. We'll little clip for you, and we're back after this.